I met Apostle Johnson Suleman at 2015 for counseling. As a pastor, back then I had mind to get married because African parents, they always pressure you for marriage. Excuse me. They always pressure you for marriage, and I had plans to get married. And my friend at the time just got married in Nigeria, and she sings for Apostle Johnson Suleman, one of his churches in Nigeria, Lagos. So I was asking her, how did you know this was your husband? I was just like asking her some friendly questions, and that was when she told me, oh, her father in the Lord told her that who her husband was supposed to be, counseled her, and she said, oh, just text him. If you send him a text, I'll send you his number, just text him your problem and he would just reply you. That was how I met him. I texted him for counseling, and he called me back and turned everything around into some kind of relationship. At the time I was worried and scared. I'm like, but you are supposed to be a pastor. That was when he told me that him and his wife were not together, but he could not make it public. But because I believed that he was a man of God, I actually believed the situation he told me he had. Like, if a normal person had told me, oh, I'm not with my wife, I would suspect that they are just lying, that's men. But because he was a man of God, I thought he was a real man of God. So I believed his story. That was how we met.
So what happened after you first met him?
What happened? Yeah, like I was saying, he, first of all, as soon as I agreed to date him, before seeing him, he sent me some money just for me not to like check him out, because you know, when you meet someone, you check them out, you try to know them mentally, emotionally. He just now that I'm looking back at things, I know now that he must have used some kind of juju or jazz, whatever you want to call it, on me, because my kind of person, I would check you out, but he sent me money physically to stop that. For me not to check him out, he sent me money physically, and he conditioned me emotionally. So I was just like all loyal to him and trusted him and just surrendered to him, and I was looking forward to the marriage that he promised me.
And how did he poison you when you were pregnant?
So after a while and marriage was not coming forth that same year, I saw that he wasn't talking. After we started, he wasn't talking anything about marriage. He would just, you know, like I felt like I was conditioned not to even ask him, and I felt that wasn't right. So I'm like trying to break up with him. Like, I told him that I didn't want the relationship anymore. That was when he invited me over to Nigeria so we could meet up. But when I met him, I forgot the emotion of breaking up with him. I was just happy to see him, and we were just like vibing and everything. Then he bought food in the hotel. We were eating, then he called someone in from his car to bring his drink. He said that was his favorite drink. So they brought this drink and he gave it to me. I wasn't really watching if he drank it, because I wasn't thinking of anything negative. You know, when you're with someone that you really like, you're free-spirited. I was just free-spirited. I was just happy to see him and was just vibing along. And that drink he gave me was actually poison. So that was where he poisoned me. And when he left, after a couple of hours at night, I was just passing out blood. And the next morning, I called on one of the workers in the hotel, and I told them that I had a miscarriage. And I didn't tell them why or what happened, because I was so like protecting his secret, us dating. That was part of the condition he put me. I was so conditioned not to tell anybody anything. So I told this guy, and he said, oh, he knew some nurses around, so he went to get me some medication and pills. So I drank it, and you know, then I also, but one person I didn't like to was my best friend at the time, this girl named Gladys. She lives in Worry. So I told her, and she was also scared about the whole situation. So she told me the only person she would recommend me to speak to was her pastor in Worry. So I went to see her in Worry, and we went to this church by Pastor John Mark. This is the name of the pastor in the church, called Free Indeed. So that was where I told this pastor everything. The first time he didn't record me. So when I went to Abuja to see my dad, I was scared. So I told my dad a lot of things. I just told my dad that we were dating. I didn't tell him about the poison and everything. So my dad spent 1 month of all, like, he would pray every night for me, just to get me back my confidence, because he saw that I was really scared, physically scared. So but my dad really helped me, but there was nothing he could do, because Apostle Suleman is more powerful than my dad, right? So yeah, so Pastor John Mark came to Abuja to that Dunai Mines program at the time in Abuja. So he came to Dunamis, and he invited me over, and he made me comfortable by saying, oh, my wife is here, don't worry, I'm not going to do anything to you. I spoke to his wife, so his wife was there. And when I got there, there were like multiple people there, like a couple of more people. I didn't know they were recording me. So he said, say your story again, I'm trying to help you. So I told him my story again. Meanwhile, during his church, we went through some deliverance program. So I said, okay. So I told him all the story again. I didn't know they were recording me. So they used that recording to go meet Apostle Johnson Suleman. I didn't know none of this. So I came back to Canada, and Johnson Suleman called me, and he said, oh, I heard you blabbing, talking about me, but I know you did not know they were recording you. So I forgive you. But he did not address the poison. He did not address anything. He did not address any of the situation I was accusing him of. He just went straight to trying to get sexual with me. So that was when I started screenshotting our FaceTime sexual stuff. I started screenshotting it because I was trying to, because I was suspecting that, okay, this person poisoned me and he's not saying anything. But at the same time, I was feeling conditioned not to tell, not to ask questions. You know, the whole thing was so manipulative and was a lot of power, like spiritual manipulation. So I was not able to say anything. I was going along with him, but I was screenshotting our FaceTime. Yes.
Thank you. So how did he get you arrested, and what were the lawsuits involved?
So after this poison didn't kill me, so he I kept trying to move forward, like just forget about him and move forward. So I told him that I was going into music. That was what I wanted to do with my life. And he said, over his dead body, nobody that around him wants to be a star. Like, I cannot say I want to be a star or have anything like that. I should just go and look for a business. So I said, okay, I really wanted to do music. So I stopped, like, we didn't communicate. I would not call him or speak to him. So I met someone over here in Canada that has connections with Timaya, the musician. So we went to Nigeria together and we tried to meet up with Timaya. We did, and I paid Timaya 3.5 million naira. We did the audio in his house, and he introduced me to Clarence Peter, the videographer. At the time, he was a top videographer. This was March 2017. So he introduced me to Clarence Peter. I paid Clarence Peter, and we had arranged to shoot our video a couple of days before he arrested. My bank card wasn't working, so I went into the bank on Anthony Street, the UBA on Anthony Street in Lagos. I tried to go check out why my card wasn't working. I was asking questions. The next thing I saw, they said wait. I was waiting. The next thing I saw was police everywhere, and as soon as the police came into the bank, the first thing they did was ask for my cell phone, so I would not have any proof against him. So he collected my cell phone. On that cell phone had our messages and more proofs that you would want to hear right now or see. He had everything, because he was threatening me. He was threatening me before the arrest. He was so mad because I came to Nigeria without his permission. You know, I posted a picture of me and Timaya. He saw that, so he was furious. So he was texting me a lot with anger, telling me how he's going to deal with me. But I didn't take it literally, because I felt like, okay, the only thing he would do to me is just stop seeing me or giving me money, and I was okay with that. I'm like, okay, whatever. But I didn't know that he was like coming after me physically. Like, I would not think someone that called themselves a man of God would actually use the police against me. So I refuse, like, I would not think about those physical stuff. So that was when he arrested me. The cops, they came to the bank like I was some drug dealer or something, with a lot of, like, with pepper spray, with like guns, with so much intimidation. And they were beating up the guy that I came to Nigeria with. Like, they hit him on his face, and they were asking for our cell phones. They took both of our phones, and that was where he arrested me for. But before we left, the bank manager at the time, or someone from the bank that works there, tried to delay them a little bit, and that helped us. We collected a cell phone from people, because a lot of people were gathered. We collected a cell phone, and they told us to call someone quickly. So we called someone so they would know where they are taking us to. So we called someone, and so they told them where they were taking us to. They were trying to bail us. The police said was refusing us bail for 3 days. It was refusing us bail. So everybody was scared, and with Nigeria, with the corruption, anything could have happened to us. They could poison us. We didn't know who even arrested us. They was not telling us anything. So that was when they had to publish the whole thing. After trying to bail us for 3 days, nobody could, because they said it was a no bail arrest, like for no reason. So they had to publish the whole thing. So when everything came out from the cell, he sued us to court immediately. That was when he said I was trying to me and the guy was trying to blackmail him. So the judge said, where is the proof? He had paid everyone, but the judge was a woman, and she was real, and she wanted to see the end of the case. She refused to take bribe. That was the God that saved us. And also, if I was trying to blackmail someone that powerful, I would be rot in jail right now. He had no proof. Like, this is why you should know this man is not a man of God, and he's just like a false prophet and all that. He, because he used the cops on me. He arrested me with no bail, with no proof of anything. He froze my account. That was why I was at the bank. He froze my account for no reason, no proof of anything. So we were going to court for over a year, and every after court, I had to fly back to Canada because of my security. You know how Nigeria is, there's no security. I had to fly back to Canada for my security. And there was, in a year, I flew 16 times. you know. So I was doing all of this out of my pocket, the hotels, the flights, and everything out of my pocket. So it was really hard for me.
How did you end up in his church, and what did he request from you before the church visit?
I ended up in his church because of how I've been flying back and forth with no help, no financial support. 4 months to when I went to his church, I was telling my lawyer, Kiyamu, how broke I was. Like, this was too much for me. I was drained mentally. Because he really, Apostle Johnson Suleman, understood the game. Like, he's a mature person physically, but I was just like surprised, and I was just oblivious about the whole situation. At the time, I didn't know what was happening, but I would just go with what my lawyer was doing. I trusted him at the time, and I was telling him how I was broke and everything, but he would just tell me, do not miss court. Do not miss court. You have to be around. You have to come. That was all I was hearing. So, and every after court, Suleman would send someone to come approach us to tell us how he would make sure I go broke. After, like, he would make sure that I got tired and all of this stuff. So it really, that happened. I finally gave up hope after he succeedingly transferred the case from that woman who I knew refused to take bribe and was trying to see everything work naturally, organically. He transferred the case from her to like some man judge somewhere in Nigeria that I would not go. Like, it was so far away. It was somewhere like local jail or something. But I really just gave up hope at that time, and I felt like, you know what, whatever. And I was losing him, and like I was losing my stability at the time. So he approached, like I said, every after court he would approach me. So he approached me again, and he said, if we wanted, like, he would never settle through a lawyer, that me and him has to settle by ourselves. So I said, okay, whatever he wants at the time, I wanted to get out of this. So he told me, he requested that they prepped me to go to this church, and they prepped me, and they told me everything to say, how I should lie against the politicians. That is the politicians that sent me to blackmail him or whatever that was going on. He said I should say it's the politicians, and he was going to financially settle me because of he was going to settle me. He said he was going to settle me. So how I've been going to the courts, and I got tired and financially drained and everything, no support. Then he said he was going to financially settle me because he knew that if I had lied against politicians, that would be like a bad reputation for me. But because I felt like I really wanted to get out of everything, and I knew that he was the one with a bigger organization and people, I wanted to really just, get out of it. So he said he was going to settle me financially from the damages that was going to happen. So I agreed, and that was what he requested.
And what did he promise you when he was present?
He promised to take care of the damages financially, would settle me. And who was present was Frank Shaibu and the person I was arrested with. And Frank came with some guy, I do not remember his name. Excuse me. It would always be around. Like, they took us to Abuja. That was where they prepared me about the speech I was going to his church in Auchi to say that day. They prepared me for everything. And he promised me money, yes.
How did they scam you?
So they scammed me with the money that they promised me. So he had sent 20 million naira to someone that was around bank account. It was in my account. So they received the alert and they showed me the alert that, hey, we got 20 million out of it, so we could be on our way to Aochi. And I said okay. So yeah, that was how. But that alert was fake alert. Like, you are Nigerians, you understand how they do fake alert in Nigeria. They do it a lot. So that alert was fake and there was no money in the account, but he just got an alert. That's it.
Did you do all of this for money?
I can't do this for money because, one, if I did, I would have followed up and make sure that there was money in the account. I would have actually said, let's go to the bank and find out on the ATM. I would want to make sure that the money was there. So no, I didn't do it for the money. Like I said, I was getting so drained about everything that was happening and I wanted out completely. I just wanted to go live my life like as a young person, and I didn't really care a lot about what was at stake or talking about politicians, which was a lie. So he actually made me go tell a lie in his congregation, in his whole church. Yes, Apostle Suleman did that arrangement, and there were like a lot of police, soldiers, guns and everything. So the intimidation was really, really high. I was feeling really intimidated that I would just do whatever he wanted me to do. So no, it wasn't about the money.
Can you talk a bit more about how he operates?
He operates with fear. Like he projects fear on someone, and if you accept the fear, then he works with that to make you do anything he wants you to do. And I have been under fear for the past 5 years. That's why I've been unable to speak about this. But it's just like got into a place where I cannot be scared anymore, because I've just been scared for years now and I'm bored of it. And like I come out of it now and want to speak the truth. And so like he's really diabolical. Like I've been having nightmares about the poison, about everything he's been doing to me. A lot of nightmares over the years up to today, but it's just I'm used to it, so I just carry on anyways, because at the end of the day, he's not God.
What people did he use against you?
He used my friends against me, especially one of my friends that I told everything. She knew I was going out with that man. She knew before everything happened. She knew. Her name is Yvonne Ogiame. She knows. She lives in Toronto. She knows, like she knew everything before everything escalated. She knew I was going out with this pastor. She was supporting me when the whole thing escalated. The next thing I saw, she was texting me and telling me, okay, it's fine. Okay, it's okay now. Just stop talking about him. Just stop. Like, let everything just dies down. If you don't stop, I'm gonna go against you. So I'm like, okay. I was going to court at the time, so I could not deal with her problems. I'm like, whatever, do whatever you want to do. So, and she would call immigration that I was lying against the pastor, and I was flying around just lying against the man of God. Like, she was doing all of those things. She made videos that I was lying and everything. And she also used my uncle against me when I was having nightmares. The whole of 2019, I told one of my uncle, and I said, this nightmare will not stop. Like, I was tired of it. I don't know what to do. And my uncle told me, oh, we're going to come to Nigeria. I will take you to a church so we can pray about it and do this and that. You fight spirituality with spirituality as well. So he was advising me. I'm like, okay. At the time when my dad wasn't there, my uncle was there for us. Like, he took care of us like a father. So I actually trusted him, and I like was so like loyal to him. I trusted him with my life and everything. So he December 2019, when I went to Nigeria to see him, it was like, okay, we're trying to do some spiritual stuff, and like I'm familiar with going to the river and like doing stuff. Like, I'm familiar with that. I grew up in church. Like, I grew up in a church, so I'm familiar with that stuff. But he took me to this place that wasn't like river. It wasn't like, it was like little swamp or something with a lot of dirt. So then so I was trying to ask him that this place is dirty. Why are we here? Then he said, don't doubt. If you doubt, it's not going to work. I said, okay. So him and the other person, they prayed on the place, and the other person left, and he was standing there. My uncle was standing there. This was December 2019. So I was like, okay. I pretended that I was actually buying the whole thing and having a shower, but I couldn't because the place was so dirty. But before I started, he told me, if you see anybody coming, just continue doing what you're doing. Don't run or don't be scared. I'm like, that doesn't sound right, but okay. I just told him, okay. In my mind, I knew if someone was coming, I was going to run because I was naked. This is the place that we took a lot of walk into, like over 10 minutes walk. He told me that bikes could not get in there. As soon as I started like pretending to shower, a bike that was like right there waiting for us, because if a bike was coming from a distance, I would hear it. I just heard the sound of a bike like right there, just started, and someone was on the bike taking a picture of me with a camera. So the whole situation was planned. As soon as they left, so I hid myself and I tried to cover myself. As soon as they left, I put on my clothes and I told him that, oh, I'm done. I just wanted to get out of there safely. So I didn't ask him anything. So I came out of there. As soon as I got out of there, I ran away. So after that, so January 2020, thereabout. So all over these years, I've been feeling ugly, not seen, in fear and everything. So I wanted to do BBL. I couldn't do it over here in Canada because COVID had just started and they were not doing stuff. They said, I called some doctors and they were like, oh, call back in a couple of months and thereabout. And I was desperate because I felt like, you know, I really wanted this. So I contacted Dr. Malu in Abuja, Nigeria, and I told him everything I wanted. I even almost paid him twice the price just for me to have a safe everything. So when I got there, Dr. Malu tried to inject me, and how I knew, because first of all, it was giving me a pill that I was reacting to. So I told him, okay, I'm reacting to this pill. Please don't give me this pill anymore. He said, oh, you have mouth to talk because I haven't injected this pill into you. And I said, what's going on? I started crying and asking what's happening, the way he spoke to me. So I started like crying and saying, what's happening? And previously, when I was waking up from this whole operation thing, I heard one of the nurses that was watching over me. She just me and her in the room. She was telling someone on the phone that, oh, this girl has died 3 times and she came back to life. I don't know if she's an angel or something, but I didn't thought that was me, because later the doctor told me, oh, you died and came back. And so I'm like, okay. Then as soon as he told me that, oh, he wanted to inject me, it gave me more of those pills that I was reacting to. So I started crying, and it was like, there are different kinds of painkillers in the world. If I'm reacting to this, you can give me another painkiller. I know that much. But he was like so hostile and like rude to me and angry for some reason. Then he instructed them to go get injection and all that. They were going to inject me. So I was so scared, and I started calling people. Anybody I called that gets there, it told them that I've gone crazy. So they'll call me back and say, I'm sorry, they said you've gone crazy and they have to look after you, they have to take care of you. So I was like, okay, what's going on? I was really scared. I had to come on Instagram live, and I said everything. I told everybody where I was, and I said something is going on. They're trying to inject me. I don't know why. So people started calling him. People started calling the doctor that was happening. He got really, really angry and threatened to take my phone away from me if I don't delete everything. So I deleted it. They went and told my deleted stuff, and they deleted the video. So, but luckily I still had my phone. They were going to inject me that evening. So I started screaming because 2 nurses held me. They were going to inject me. I started screaming out of my lungs. Then one of the nurses said, people have heard her scream. We cannot do it tonight. So that was when I put 2 and 2 together. I knew that wasn't a good thing at all. Like, even if I was refusing pills, even if I was refusing anything, you cannot try to inject someone and say, people have heard her scream, we cannot do it tonight, you know. So I put 2 and 2 together. I started begging him, okay, if this is about Apostle Suleman, please, I did not do anything. Let me tell you my side of the story. He would not listen to me or talk to me or anything. He would just like ignore me. So that was the next morning. He called in a psychiatrist because they were building a file about like when someone dies, so they will have something to prove that like what happened before she dies. They were building files against me, saying things like, oh, she refused, because I heard him telling the nurse, write down she's refusing her pills. I never refused my pills. Even when I told him I was reacting to it, I still took the pills because he made me take the pills. So he said, write down she's refusing her pills, write down she's doing this, write down she's doing that. So he's lying in front of me. So I knew things were not going right. That was when I called someone that I would not want to call his name unless the court asked me to, because I don't want to get him involved in all of this. So I called him. So he came over there. This was the next morning. Oh, before he came, they called the psychiatrist because he's building a case against me. So he'd be like, oh, a psychiatrist was here. So the psychiatrist came and I was crying. I couldn't stop crying the whole night, and the next day I was crying constantly. So the psychiatrist came and they were talking in their language, and the psychiatrist asked me, Stephanie, why are you crying? I said, he's giving me pills that I'm reacting to. So he said, okay. Then they went back to talking, speaking their language. I didn't understand what they were saying. Then he said, if he stops giving you this pill and give you another one, would you stop crying? I said, yes. That was it. So he said, okay, he's not going to give you that pills anymore. That was it. So he left. So I called someone. He came and they told him I've gone crazy. Then he said, if she has gone crazy, how is she talking to me on the phone? I think this is the same thing that my uncle tried to do to me when they were taking me pictures in this place that I was naked. They were trying to say that I had gone crazy. If someone had gone crazy, the next thing was to kill me, because then they will have proof that Suleman didn't do anything to me. I went crazy before I died. So they were actually trying really hard to make sure that they said I went crazy. So I called this guy. He came and they told him I've gone crazy. He said that's the lie. He had to go get the police. No police in the around Wuse would come. If they know they were coming there, they said no. So he had to go somewhere else to get the police, and brought the police. And that was when they allowed him to see me, and it would come every day, because they said that I could not move for the next 5 days. I had to stay there. So he said, okay, nothing should happen to me. Like, he made sure that my life was saved. So after the 5 days, I left there. And I would not take drips or anything because I was scared, you know. That was it.
And is he reaching out again?
if he's reaching out, he has been reaching out since I started talking again, since February this year. He has been reaching out first to threaten me. There were boys that would call me to threaten me. I've changed my number twice since February, and I've called the cops 3 times since February. But like now they are not threatening me anymore. Now they want to meet up. Like I had someone a couple of days called me and said, oh, they want to meet up because of this, they want to talk to me. But that's a no-no, because I don't even care if they're trying to settle or anything. We have to settle in court, because he has fooled me once with that fake alert. I am not involved with money or anything right now, because we have to settle in court naturally, the way it's supposed to be. I'm not gonna let anybody fool me again. So I do not respond to any calls or anybody trying to meet up. They've called someone that I know that is a mature somebody. They've called him and asked him to tell me to get back to them. They dropped a number, but I refuse to do this because this is not what I'm about.